Start your homework for me, please. You know, say nobody in the class. Nobody enough in the class.
You didn't turn up last week, so you're not turning this week. You didn't turn up last week, so you're not
No,
turning
I
this
went to
week.
class. I went to class.
Last week?
I went to class the Wednesday, and I went to class on Monday. I went to class on Wednesday, and I told them I wasn't there. All right, can you work on the homework for me, please? Put up those. Give it to me, please. Because you're gonna let it stay here and spill. Sorry, my stomach hurts. I don't want so much ice cream yesterday and then today again. Then why?
now and try it.
Somebody can?
Mhm.
I'm saying whenever you're,
Hmm?
said whenever you're ready.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
ready? Hmm?
Good night, sir. Just got home. Sorry.
Good night, Venika. How are you?
Tired.
Okay. I was just about to say, you know what? This is an hour now. Let me just go lay down and get some beauty sleep. All right. Want to freshen up a little bit. I give you 5-10 minutes, and then we start. Mhm.
Wait, we should make me something to eat. Oh, no. Okay, sir. No.
Are you back now, Benito?
What makes sense to you? Hello, sir.
No, I was asking if you're ready now.
5 minutes, please. I have one meeting.
You need 5 minutes more? I'm not hearing you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Here, sir.
Okay, ready now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the last time around, we looked at the water cycle.
Yes, sir.
Say it again?
Oh, I was agreeing. Yes, sir.
Hmm. Yeah, so we looked at the water cycle the last time around, and we recognize that the water circulating within the water cycle system is consistent. It's just that it is distributed differently um, into different areas. We understand the source, we understand the uses, we understand now that the water, when it precipitates and hits the lithosphere, that a lot of things happen. Several things happen. It picks up these earth metals, and these earth metals causes the water to become hard, and we have to sometimes soften the water um, for what it is that we need to the purposes of the water. I recognize that the water from as runoff hits the lithosphere, runs off into our rivers and streams, into our water catchment area. But whilst doing so, it picks up these fertilizers, um, you know, debris from the lithosphere, sometimes poisonous, um, from car batteries, with the lead, among other things. It gets into our water system. If water is not purified, we consume the water, we get sick, and we can die. Lead poisoning is very common, and this is why it's important for us to dispose of our batteries um, safely. Because if when you change your battery from one of those battery places and you take your battery home and you allow it to stay there and it leaches into the soil, uh, it may mean that you have callaloo or pak chow or your green vegetable. Your vegetables on a whole. Banana could be cane that is actually lifting these poisonous substances from the soil, running through their root systems and into their leaves, and we consume it. We can die. So this now takes the conversation into the whole business of water pollution. And yes, again, we are faced with this water pollution. Won't spend a lot of time on it because I think I looked at water pollution quite a bit in geology. We looked at some of the sources, we looked at some of the other things. There are some other areas, additional information, yes, that I'll give to you. But this is it. Um, the what are some of the sources I should ask you of water pollution?
Industrial waste, municipal waste,
Mm-hmm.
agro waste,
Mm-hmm. All right.
bad farming technique, so
Yes.
like the deforestation, in the same agro waste, like for example, the cleaning the animal pen and it flows to a river.
Mm-hmm.
Bad farming techniques, they're using inorganic fertilizers, pesticides in abundance, leaching
Mm-hmm.
with different into the water source.
Mm-hmm.
Landfill can also cause leaching and then it go down into the groundwater,
Yes, ma'am.
to the exposure, the chemicals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Anything that comes to mind?
Um, the same excess nutrients can cause eutrophication, which
Mm-hmm.
can in turn kill aquatic organisms and lead up to bacteria based on the size for
Right.
oxygen,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is eutrophication?
causing excess growth of bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
What is eutrophication?
Mm-hmm.
There's the excess growth of algae due
Mm-hmm.
to nitrate and phosphate or excessive nutrients in the water
Mm-hmm. That leads to what?
that leads to the excessive growth of bacteria.
The reduction of oxygen.
Oxygen, yes, oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
because
Hold on a minute, please. Hold
there's
on. Hold on 1 minute.
competition.
Right. So eutrophication, talking about the buildup of algae pretty much covering the surface of the water, blocking the sunlight from getting in, causing aquatic plants not to photosynthesize. True or false?
True, sir.
So therefore, you may have less production of oxygen, so aquatic animals will eventually die.
And then there's a competition for oxygen as well.
They'll be in competition for oxygen, absolutely. So we have to be very mindful of that. All right. So as I said before, I can't speak about the atmosphere without eventually speaking about the hydrosphere, and of course, they both tie into the lithosphere. So there are relations, combinations that we have to um, what is wrong with this computer? Um, Sorry, let me just see if I can share this document with you. I inadvertently, but I don't understand now. Why am I there twice and I'm using the same device? Oh, are you hearing me, Tanika?
This one really.
Inadvertently, I've closed the browser, and that has been happening to me very frequent. Um, but I'm using the same device to log in, and it's logged me in twice. But anyhow, let's go. What was I saying to you? So I can't separate my conversation without making reference to, oh Lord, without making reference to
The lithosphere.
the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere. All right, something is happening. The computer is jumping. I want to share the document with you. All right, let me try download it again and hope that everything goes well. Okay, yes, it's there twice. Um, all right. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So proof that we can't have a conversation in isolation, um, to the other spheres. So the atmosphere. I'm looking at pollutants here now. The atmosphere. The pollutants in the atmosphere will fall out. The lithosphere, we talk about leaching or dumping. So once we have leaching or dumping from the lithosphere, it produces pollutants. Leaching, as I explained to you before, in the form of your toxic fluids from car batteries, from lead poisoning. Leaching, for example, you have your chlorine cylinders from, say, for example, NWC, um, or even if you have a pool and you have a chlorine um, powder that you use to chlorinate the water, if that gets thrown out and not disposed of properly, and
Yeah.
it rains, you're going to have the dissolution of the crystals and it gets leached into the soil. All right. So, and dumping, of course, is one of the is a major contributor cause to pollution from on the lithosphere. People not disposing of their waste properly. And one of the things that I keep saying is, um, just as how you buy food to eat, you also need to purchase garbage bags or other material to contain your waste. You're gonna use recycled bins, because when we put so much waste on the environment, and now because of convenience, everything has its own small package. So
Mm-hmm.
you have the little water, the 330 water. You have the 596 or the 600 milliliters water. You have the 1 liter, you have the 2 liter, you have the 5 liter, you have the 6 liter, you have the 5 gallon. All right. So one of the things that we're saying is that why not just use a 5 gallon? So it is that those bottles we know are recyclable, as opposed to be using the other smaller bottles where they're adding to not only the production of those bottles, using up a lot of fuel. When you burn these fuel, it adds more pollutant to the atmosphere. When people drink the bottle, the water or the contents from the bottles, they throw it out, it causes pollutant on the lithosphere. So the bottle in itself, the plastic bottles that we drink our sodas from and our water from, the plastic bottle in itself is a hazard in producing it, because it requires so much of our fuel that we use in order to propel these plants in manufacturing these plastic bottles. The exhaust that goes up also is a contributor cause to the atmospheric pollutants. And guess what? When the bottle is manufactured, I mean, you drink out of it, I would drive on the road, I would just toss the bottle one side. Or we burn them. We have it's springtime, so we sweep up the leaves from our backyard, front yard, and then decide that we're gonna burn it. And we'll catch our little plastic bottle and we burn it in there. And we're releasing these carcinogens that you and I inhale, that are, you know, cancer causing. And you will say, boy, how I developed this and how somebody developed that. And I never did smoke a day in my life. You don't have to smoke a day in your life. It's what it is that you're exposed to that can give you these, terminal illnesses. And then these pollutants, we talk about the water environment, diluted and dispersed by waves, turbulence, and currents. So think of the video that we watched from Cassava Peaks. You remember that video?
Yes, sir. The
Right,
restaurant.
right. So what happens is that the debris that they dumped into the gully,
Really?
when the water comes, it washes it away. So you have diluted and dispersed by waves, turbulence, and currents. So it gets out into the ocean. These aquatic animals now say, hey, I see something floating. It is in my natural instinct to go and bite and nibble. So they go and they bite the plastic bottles, and they bite the plastic bags, and they ingest the plastic bags, ingest the plastic bottles. Sometimes they have fishing line there, and they twirl on the wheel and they get entangled in it, and they stay entangled, and they are growing. So the entanglement is piercing their bodies, and eventually they too die, right? So you see how the ripple effect of us not taking care of the environment can, us just throwing a plastic bottle on the road. Breeze come and breeze blow. You can say, but I never throw it near the gully. Okay, fine. So breeze come and the plastic bottle start walk. You ever see plastic bottle walk yet? Me see it. the breeze comes and it transports that plastic bottle from one location to the next. And then it gets into our gullies now. Breeze finally gets it to a good resting place. Then the rain comes, it washes it out. And these aquatic plants and animals now are feeding on things that they're not supposed to be feeding on. Right? It also causes eutrophication because when it blocks it and then because of the bacterial growth, the surface of the water becomes covered. So no photosynthesis is taking place there, no production of oxygen. Aquatic animals will eventually die. And the death of the aquatic animals also cause what?
Uh,
Hello?
hello, hello, sir.
I'm saying to you, the death of the aquatic animals also end up cause what now?
The bacteria, sir.
Yeah, but pollution.
Yes, yes, to the aesthetic.
Right, right. So the water environment also transports by the currents, rivers, and organisms. Right. So just think about it. Um, the atmospheric pollutants. You have you have your nitrogen dioxide. You have your hydrogen carbonate, and all of these. The nitrogen dioxide really comes from these plants that manufacturing plants. They make tires, they make this, they make that, um, and all these gases, very toxic gases, stay in the atmosphere. They form depletants to the ozone, and when it rains, it dissolves there. That's why it says diluted and dispersed. It dissolves there and becomes the weak acid. It could be phosphoric acid, it could be carbonic acid, it could be you name it, right? So that's what happens for the water environment. It is transported by currents. Remember now, waves, um, also the rivers and organisms. Now, when you look at, I'm looking at pollution here now. When you look at the concentration, you're going to talk about biological effects, chemical and physical effects. And there's a relationship between biological effects and chemical and physical effects. There's a strong relationship right here. The biological effects talk about our fish and our seaweeds, right? Or phytoplankton, and the likes, right? Fish and mammals. For the chemical and physical effects, absorption, ion exchange, precipitation, sediments. So in Jamaica, we have an issue about how it is that we dispose of our garbage. And you may say, okay, sir, but I do package my garbage and send it off to the dump. That is fine. But packing your garbage is one thing. But separating your garbage so that when it gets to the dump, it becomes easier for the workers to separate and to send what is recyclable to the recycling section and what is non-recyclable to be incinerated. But we don't. And when they get to the dump, they don't do anything either. So there has to be public education about how it is that we dispose of our garbage. Simple public education, how we dispose of our garbage. All right. Take 2 minutes and look back at this, and then I'm going to have a conversation with you about this pollution here. So take 2 minutes and look at it. I'm going to come back to you, and we're going to talk about um, the pollution
There's
to the
the chart,
environment. Say it again.
the chart, because I see where it says your shared screen. I'm not sure if it was supposed to change
What?
the screen while you're sharing. It's still the chart.
Yeah, the chart. Yeah, yeah. Look at the chart for me. Are you
Okay.
seeing it?
Yes, sir, I'm
You
seeing it.
might
Just
just
that
need
it
to.
was saying you're sharing again and it's spinning.
Oh, but you're seeing it now, though.
Yes.
All right, good job. Are you still seeing the screen? I can't seem to find the screen.
Yes, sir.
Oh, come on. All right. All right. I lost my screen, but never mind. Okay. So now, um, let me hear how would you. Let me hear how you start the process of your garbage disposal. So I want you to start from you know, and then I'll do mine last. So tell me how it is that you describe for me how it is that you dispose of your garbage. I want to tell me, outline it. How is it that you do your stuff up to the point where the garbage collectors come and collect it?
Yes, sir. I will tell you about then. Because no is not the best way. I can tell you back then. So,
Okay.
because sir, if I tell you about no one wouldn't have much detail. No one is really putting everything in the garbage bag, putting it in the skit, well, tie it, put it in the skit, and await the garbage truck. Like everything in one bag, which is not the best way. And this is based on the type of environment. So it doesn't give much room to be doing the right thing. Now, back then, or in a different setting, it would have been getting like the organic things, so like the banana peel, stuff that they use in the kitchen, like the different type of peels. You'd put those as fertilizer, so it wasn't anything that we were making compost. But because there is like garden or random banana trees, we just feed it to the roots. For like dishwater or support, we'd put that either on the lime tree or the orange tree, because sometimes you have fungus on your detergent or support. Was told that it can help to prevent this fungus from coming, and it also kill the pest, so it's milder. Yeah, and it's cutting back on excess water usage, so we're conserving as well. In regard to the tin can,
what is that process called again?
reusing.
Okay, recycling. Okay, right. Okay,
Recycling.
continue. Yeah, continue. Use can.
So that's for the water. In regards to like the tin cans and the plastic, so for the tin cans, usually have this it's not like a drum, but it's like it's like a plastic drum thing, and then we kind of stop the bottom of it so you don't have any water being stored in it.
Why?
Because you don't want the breeding of the mosquitoes. Stop the bottom of it.
Why not?
Because these are pests. These are pests, and them say like the mosquito can give. What's the name of it again? It's not malaria.
Dengue, malaria.
Yes,
chikungunya.
Right.
Yeah, man. So
there are vectors.
Yes.
These are vectors.
Right.
Let's say no one
continue.
Excess breeding of these vectors, nuisance, as a really nuisance. Yes. So what we'd do is we'd store them there, and also for like paint bucket, paint pan, and other like formula tins. We would also use those as vase or pots that you would use to plant flowers in. So that was another way to reuse these cans. Like the cheese pan. So that was another one where someone that I used to make tea and boil water in. So that was another way to reuse those tin cans. Like the bigger paint bucket, like I don't remember the size of that. We use it to store water. Yeah, the big white bucket looking thing. We use that to store water. Even when we had an old fridge, we actually turned that into a fish pond. So that was another way. So we never throw away anything. If we have too much tin can, we end up putting these into plastic bags, and we'll tell the garbage man that these are actually tin cans, and trust me, they wanted it to go and sell. And if we had scrap metal,
right, for the scrap metal trade,
right, we'd also allow them to come and get that. For the plastic bottles and other plastic components, we put that together in a container, and then we'd actually have that bag to be given to the garbage man. No, in the end section, they were asking for plastic bottles, so we try to separate those because they actually wanted them to go and sell. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing is the glass bottles.
Mm-hmm.
No, we usually store those glass bottles so that we can have them exchanged in the Christmas to purchase liquor.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the things that we did. And for like scraps, like food scraps,
Mm-hmm.
would freeze it and then put it in the turn car meal for the dogs and the cat. So majority of the rubbish that we had or the garbage or the waste been sectioned accordingly. No, for the garbage truck. No, this was the issue, and this is, I believe, it's still the issue. And because of that, you have persons actually burning.
Mm-hmm.
For for like if for like weeding and stuff work,
Mm-hmm.
my father would usually put some of like the grass on so other roots, other trees, the other trees.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and if it's like
Why, why,
wood,
why,
like
why he did that though?
giving it nutrients.
Not only that, think about it. What something else?
Oh yeah, preventing it like mulching,
Yeah,
preventing the root from
but
washing away and
yeah, but
excess.
what else? There's something else.
Something else. I'm not sure. It's not coming to me.
It helps to keep it. It helps to prevent evaporation of the air very quickly and keeps the root very cool. So when you
Oh
water it, it stays there. It's cooler than the other areas
yeah. Or
because
if you left
it,
the area bare.
you don't leave the area bare, right?
Say, I guess you never know the science to it, but they do.
And that's exactly what happens back then in the day when people just do things because they just do it because they know it work, but they don't have the science
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
So when
Because
you
we
so
get it
so
something.
let me ask you, when you plant, for example, a coconut, a mango, a breadfruit tree, or even a palm tree, and you build a trench around it, something circular around it, why would you do that though?
Because you don't want excess water to go in there.
You don't
And
want
build the
what?
trench around it.
Yeah.
Mm, I
It's to
think
hold the
maybe.
it's to hold the water. It's to hold the water in place so that the water seeps down to the root, so it is that it gets enough nutrient. Because if not, the
It
water
go
is just
wash
going to
away.
run off. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
man.
just thinking about the trench. Like I'm just thinking that I was thinking about flooding. So I'm just thinking that you don't want too much water to like flood the area. So you make
No, man. So what happens? So if you drive in some communities that they have palms on your sidewalk, chances are you see they build a trench around it, a circular trench around it.
yeah.
They may mulch it. So they mulch it because not only that, yes, the cuttings add nutrients to the soil, but the mulching main purpose really is to keep the area cool so that whenever you would have
Reduce
water,
evaporation.
it reduces the evaporation, so it stays cooler. The roots become more hydrated, etc., etc., and the plant lives longer. All
Hmm.
right, yeah, man. Um, okay, there's a question that I want to ask because when you spoke about, all right, here goes. You said that your mommy used to use the cheese tin to boil water, and I have no problem with that because I know people would just cut the condensed can and just
Yeah.
leave a little piece of the stuff to hold it up. Then bend that back and put that each up that beside the coal fire when they're doing something, and when it starts boiling, that's their cup of tea.
Yeah,
But
ours usually boil egg in there.
I boil again there, yeah. But my question to you is, what if you use 14s of milk for the week? Not that you're supposed to use 14 because that is not good for your health. But say,
Mm.
for example, you use 14s of milk for the week. What would you do with the excess? containers, what would you recommend? What would be your recommendation to these manufacturers? Let me see if you're
Like a
seeing.
bigger size tin.
Thank you very much. And thank you for thinking outside of the box. So you talk about places like restaurants that, will make like porridge
Big part.
or a baker that is doing cheesecake, because when you're doing cheesecake is really cream cheese and condensed milk that you're doing, and it's just a consistency that you're
Or
doing to
ice
get it.
cream to use it in ice cream.
Yeah, man.
Milk
So all of those
condensed.
should be done in larger containers instead of the small things. So the man
And
have to go
probably
open.
instead of the tin, them can use the biodegradable boxes like what them use for the milk.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right? So we now need to be able to advise these people that listen. And one of the things that when we say to them that you need to do it and they don't want to do it, all we have to do as consumers is to what?
Yeah. Stop buying it.
Boycott their product. So
Mhm.
if, say for example, and I'm just picking out somebody out of the thing, it could be Wisynco, it could be Lasco. So Wisynco does water, Lasco does the Lasco water. All right. Now
Right. I
both
see.
are purified. Right. Both are purified. So if we are saying to Lasco or Wisynco, we're trying to reduce the waste in the environment. So do away with the 300 milliliters as well as the 600 milliliters, um, and just concentrate on maybe the 1 liter, because at least the 1 liter now may last you a little longer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't want to do it, a group can decide that here the plan, we're no longer buying this product because it is causing too much damage to the environment. So when you don't buy their product, there's going to be no need for them to manufacture. So what they will have to do by force is to listen to us. But
Right.
the problem is we are
The
not doing that.
convenience. The convenience.
And I understand the convenience, but let us look at the reality of it now. Convenience
Yeah.
versus the environment. When the environment stops working for us, it's death and damnation. We're
Yep.
gone. We just literally disintegrate. We're gone. So, um, one of the things that I normally do is to buy, come to school and maybe buy on my way to school, because they're selling the water for $100 for the 600 milliliters. And when I go to the supermarket, I can get that same 600 milliliters for about $40.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'll do sometimes is go there and buy maybe like 6 of them, and I'll keep them in the office. And whenever sir is thirsty, he will just pop out one and start to drink. And when he's done, he just toss it into the bin in his office. And then sir does not know what goes next when the cleaners empty that, so forth and so on. So what I start doing is to buy my water bottle. Buy my water bottle. I mean, have my recyclable water bottle. Nice looking stuff. A thermos. I can use it as hot or cold. I fill it with water. What I don't drink of today, top up and carry back for tomorrow. So I really invest in the 5 liter bottles. They last
Mm-hmm.
longer. There is money back for the bottles, so people are not going to throw it out. They are going to give it in for recycle. One of the things that we can use for convenience, if we are going to have convenience, we can have a money back guarantee. So it's like Betty or Nestle, they can say if you for every 6 tins that you're giving, you get $100 or whatever price it is, $50. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's $20 a tin or $5 a tin, whatever the situation is. I'm going to tell you, people will the hoard the tins, because they're going to be getting money back. And the companies will save on aluminum that sometimes, most times, they have to import
Yes.
to the island.
Yes.
You see the point I'm making?
Yes, sir.
Sterilize, they melt, and You know, they recycle those things. But you have to incentivize the whole process so that we can reduce the likelihood that we're going to be polluting the environment from those things that we call convenience, so to speak. One of the things that you can do to reduce the pollution in the on the lithosphere, you see them when you go to the store for buy your box lunch, and I'm give them like a plastic fork there. You tell them say you don't want the plastic fork. You say I do not want the plastic fork. So when you tell them they don't want the plastic fork, it means now that the food shop not going to give out no more plastic fork, so them not going to buy no more. You follow where I'm going?
Yes, sir.
So if I buy 100 plastic forks to be distributed today, Monday, but
Mm-hmm.
my customers decide that they're not taking the plastic fork, and I have to buy a bag of a pack of 100 every day. Come the following day, I don't have to buy a pack of 100 because I never use a fork because nobody never take the fork. Come the third day, I don't have to buy. The fourth day, the fifth day, the first month, second month, third month, and I'm still on that pack of straw. What is going to happen is that I am not going to be going to the wholesale or supermarket to pick up a pack of plastic forks. No, what happens is that the manufacturers going to say, okay, my suppliers no longer need these plastic forks, and we have to go wheel and come again. So what we need to do
Like,
is to
other
buy
day,
up, is to carry a knife and fork to work with. Or we were going pack our lunch bag, pack our knife and forks. Um, we say to them that we no longer want where we don't use plastic straws again. But the paper straws are frustrating because when you drink from the paper straw, you have to drink one time because the moment you make it stay in the liquid, you can't drink again from it.
then they
Right?
make other biodegradable one. You go to Maca and there's something that stop pop. Like it
Which
does,
is
you know, like when something dry right.
absolutely.
So
And
them
then
they buy one juice.
and especially if you're trying to pierce a box with it, it can't pierce it,
Great.
right? So some places that I go to, um, you order your drink and they give you the straw in it. Them drop a 3 or 4 more straws on the table because they know exactly what is going to happen.
Yes.
But what should happen is we can sell inexpensive aluminum straws so that people can they know that they're going out to a restaurant. Them carry them 6 straws, metal straws that are reusable. You get um your devices to clean them properly to reduce bacterial buildup, and you recycle the stuff. So we as consumers are speak the loudest when we are saying that we are not going to be doing that. I know where we can start. We can start in the schools where we go to the environmental club and we ask the persons in the environmental club to send a strong message to their cafeteria. So we start with them to say, listen, we're going to go and ask you to carry a spoon to school or a knife or a fork or whatever the situation is, so that we are going to boycott the use of these plastic spoons, plastic forks, plastic knives. And I'm going to say the school, the cafeteria may not feel offended because they are going to be using less of their stuff, so them don't have to buy more. So they may join you in the protest, and then when it becomes school wide now, and then one person from one school tells another person from the other school, and that domino effect is taking place. What is going to happen eventually? These companies will stop manufacturing these things. You know, many times I am eating from one of them with a plastic fork there, and when I take up the rice, a 2 spoon, a 2 grain of rice come up. By the time, and if you get more grains of rice on the little fork, by the time it reach your mouth, you have food that fly all over the place. You can't jam a flour dumpling with it because the moment you jam with it, you're going to leave one of the teeth of the fork in the cornmeal dumpling. I don't know if you have had that experience. Have you?
Sir, when you look the fork, you know, turn the other way.
Talk
Go
truth,
like and bend up.
right? So we can say to these manufacturing companies very silently that we are not going to be buying um, those containers. What?
Sister, the other day I went to the supermarket and I was so intrigued because I saw some wooden looking biodegradable forks. I'm like,
Mhm.
I see. $70 a pack. Someone said, no, man, it's not real. So I took a pack because I was keeping a little birthday pack. But then my coworker took up the regular plastic part. When I go up there now and I see she scan one of them, I see $400. Like, hold on. You sure? You sure? You're the lady to me, but you a joker. Like you're saying to me, like $100 for the pack of plastic pack, and you expect to get the one for $70. I said, you need to check on the stuff on their counter, deceive me. I was so excited. I'm like, nice wooden sparks, but that's the thing. The good way is more expensive. So then people just gonna say, let's just buy the regular plastic work, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
And that's exactly what everybody else does. So my final point before we continue, we'll continue next time around, is you can buy a tin of cooking oil for maybe $2,500 that is saturated. But then you can go ahead and buy the unsaturated oil, the same volume, the same amount, and it may cost you about $20,000 to buy that amount of oil. So the man who is having a small business and cooking, you think so the man they want to spend $20,000 by cooking oil, but them can go spend it for $2,000?
Using lard.
In use a lard, right? And in fry until it's something pitch black.
Yep.
And then even when it's pitch black, in the sides, I'm still frying from it.
Chicken, because it's dark.
And I saw a video recently of a gentleman who says that he was employed at a particular fast food. I can't recall if he named the place. He's a chef, he's trained, and he got a job at a particular fast food place. And when he went there for interview, and him say, boy, they want him immediately. He say, all right, you know what? Let me go and see the place and support and so on. When he looked, the kitchen itself was very dirty. The refrigerator was dirty. The food stuff, the chicken, etc., were not being stored at the correct temperature. And when he looked at it, he says, but people can't eat from this place. And him saying, just pack up him stuff. Him saying, don't even tell them, same gone. Him just leave. Because he took a video before he left and he showed us. He showed social media what the video looks like. So we can speak very loudly. If they're not doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, for example, Devon House no longer gives plastic containers for their ice cream. They are now using paper, right? But people are saying that, Lord, when you put it in the fridge, it lopsided now because it can't. So they may want to clamor for more plastic. But we have to get rid of our convenience now. So we may need to purchase large plastic bins. So when we get our ice cream, we can go and pour out the ice cream, scrape out the ice cream out of the paper something and store it properly. So we have to, it starts from us. It starts from public education. It starts from a small setting. You may go into a church and you may use a pulpit. The minister may talk about protecting the environment. And when the minister speaks about protecting the environment, the membership, the flock may say, here the plan, this is what our minister said we're supposed to do. So you have people from different backgrounds and different institutions go on. One person tells another person, we can save the environment. Because when these plastic forks, spoons, and knives get into the ocean, the aquatic plants and animals are eating them.
Okay,
and it's changing their DNA. So chances are the fish that our forefathers would have ate or would have eaten back then is not the same quality fish that they're eating now because their DNA has been changed because they're consuming so much plastic. They're consuming plastic bags. They're consuming styrofoam cups, styrofoam plates, all those things, foolishness. When you go to a restaurant, everybody's supposed to be walking with their own plastic containers and they share the food with it and then come out there with it and get rid of the styrofoam stuff. It is detrimental to the environment. But anyhow, think on those things. I want you to think on how I'm going to send this diagram to you. Think on how the atmosphere as well as the lithosphere gets polluted, remember, we also need to think of how it is that we're going to mitigate the the pollution, and make recommendations as to changes that should be taking place to help the environment. Yes, one may say that to put in businesses out of operation and people not going to get no money. But you know what they can do? They can reinvent stuff. They can say, okay, fine, they don't want plastic. Let us see how best we can now recycle some of these aluminum tins from our cheese and our milk tins or condensed milk, and make these aluminum we call it straws. My mother, when she goes out, she has a set of aluminum straws. So when she goes out, sometimes she forget it, but when she goes out, she carries her set of aluminum straws, because the paper straws them don't make no sense. And she carries the stuff. It's in a nice little container. It's laid on the table. She puts her stuff in the thing. She uses it. When she's done, she takes it out and she puts it back in the stuff and comes home and she washes it. Right? So if we can do that, it will help to protect the environment, which is what we need to do. But anyhow, think on those things, and hopefully for Wednesday we can continue the conversation. All right?
All right. So good night.
Take care. Have a good one.